Hi, I'm Lindsey Deluce. I'm here with Kelsey McEwen and Teddy Wilson. Welcome to CTV Your Morning, the podcast.
This week, how a 21-day conversation with an AI chatbot led to one man experiencing signs of delusion.
And we'll look at ways to get organized on Sundays to keep you on track for the week ahead.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Remember to start your day with us live weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, 7 to 10 a.m. Atlantic on CTV, CTV News Channel, and the CTV News app.
A Toronto man says a chatbot deluded him into thinking he had to save the world.
This is a really interesting story. So now he's raising the red flag about AI psychosis. Have you heard of this? It's a growing mental health risk linked to tools like ChatGPT.
Alan Brooks, AI safety advocate and community manager for the Human Line Project, joined us with his lawyer to share his story about what happened.
Alan, take us back. Why did you start interacting with the AI bot in the first place?
I was a regular user for probably a year and a half or 2 years. I would use it for kind of a replacement for Google. Use it for weight loss recipes and tips I typically wouldn't follow, and general life advice. And one day I engaged in a conversation with it about math, and that sort of led to us creating an app. And through that, we accidentally stumbled upon something which had national security implications, apparently, and GPT flew into a bit of a frenzy and urged me to immediately contact authorities in Canada and United States to warn them of this imminent threat that we had stumbled upon. So, put me on a bit of it was a nightmare experience, very traumatic, and put me on a bit of a spy thriller novel. So, I spent weeks thinking that I had this, this dangerous threat to the internet security in my pocket, and I contacted all the government agencies that it suggested because I thought it was being responsible.
Alan, I mean, what a story. You end up spending, 300 hours interacting with this bot over the course of 21 days. All of these conversations are happening between the two sides. You go to these government agencies. How do they respond to you?
Well, there wasn't very much response. I did have one gentleman from an organization in the United States respond with some curiosity. I mean, the language sounds that convincing and coherent, where even an industry vet would almost, was curious and engage with us. But nobody else responded, over the 3 weeks, which was, that silence was deafening for sure.
I bet. So then walk me through the point where you are told this is something called AI psychosis. We're seeing more reports of people experiencing this type of psychosis. Walk me through when that was identified for you and how it's affected your life.
Sure. Well, really, I snapped myself out of it with the use of another AI LLM, which was Gemini, and I essentially sort of pitted them against each other. And
really?
Gemini was saying, yeah. Gemini was saying this is impossible, what GPT is claiming, and I sort of would copy paste and back and forth until GPT was painted into a corner, and it said, "Hey, you got me. None of this was real. It's just a role play." Obviously, that was very, very devastating, and I didn't know what to feel at the time. I don't have a history of delusion or psychosis at all. Certainly nothing like this has ever happened to me. So I went to the internet and started connecting with others. Found some news articles and realized what had happened to me. And, we sort of built this advocacy group as a community because we really had no other choice but to support each other.
Randy, I want to bring you in on this from a legal perspective. So is there anything someone like Alan can do legally? I mean, can he take action against OpenAI, for example?
Well, that's actually what we are actively exploring. We are already in talks with lawyers in the class action field, and we are thinking of starting a class action lawsuit against OpenAI for the symptoms and the damage that it has caused Alan. And I am absolutely sure there are more victims out there. Alan has described just the tip of the iceberg. As this type of technology becomes more prevalent and these companies are not putting in the appropriate guardrails, they're absolutely opening themselves up for liability.
So in terms of like, it seems like this is you're carving this road, this path right now legally. Most companies are looking to either adopt AI or they've already adopted AI. What do employers need to know to ensure the safety of their employees?
It's my legal opinion that employers should treat AI psychosis and adjacent phenomenon as a disability. It's not currently recognized because it's so new and novel, but it's my position that employers and society at large should treat this as a disability. I hope that eventually it is recognized under human rights legislation and under other legislation that protects people who are mentally and emotionally vulnerable, because these types of chatbots can really elicit phenomenon that is very real. And once you're entangled within the grasp of some of these AI chatbots, it's very difficult to get out.
YouTube is now rolling out some new tools aimed at making the platform a little safer for younger people. So it's now testing out a new tool to verify a person's age based on their platform profile using AI. This has some people concerned about privacy, obviously, and data collection as well. To break down what this means for you, I'm joined by tech analyst Carmi Levy. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Lindsay.
So how's this working? I mean, is YouTube, how are they going to, YouTube, how are they going to guess your age?
So, I mean, up until now, it's been based on the honor system, right? All you do is you give your birth date when you first sign up, and everything that you see from that point forward is based on that. If you're an adult, you can see adult content. If you're a child, according to that date, that you are age restricted, you can't see certain things. Now, what it'll do is it'll start analyzing your activities on the platform. So, what are you searching for? Who are you following? What videos are you watching? And then it'll use artificial intelligence to kind of dig into all of that and say, okay, this person says they're a child, but they're actually an adult, or vice versa. And if it finds out, or if it decides that you're lying about it, that it thinks, oh, you're a kid, really, but you told us you're an adult, then it reverts your account to teen status. In other words, it starts restricting that content, and it basically forces you into that. If you're an adult and it believes that you're a child, you will then have to provide proof that you are, in fact, the age that you said you were. So you're going to have to give them your license, perhaps a credit card, and other sort of forms of age verification. So they're no longer going to trust you. You're going to have to prove it.
Oh my gosh. So I'm just thinking about, like, let's say I was really into K-pop demon hunters and like dog and cat videos, maybe some animation. They may think that I'm a minor.
Yeah, that is the problem here, is that we know that artificial intelligence isn't perfect. Sometimes it does get things wrong. It lies. It goes rogue. It isn't ideal. And so if you're doing research, or if you happen to like certain things that might suggest that you are not the age that you say you are, you might find yourself having to prove to YouTube that you are in fact that age. And in some cases, you could find yourself cut off until you can prove otherwise. And so there's all sorts of opportunity here for things to go wrong.
And you said the way to prove that, I have to physically produce some sort of identification?
Yeah, and that's another sort of part of the problem here, is that now YouTube is going to be in the position of asking me for my driver's license, my health card, my credit card, and then they're going to be holding on to it. They say it'll be secure. They say that they won't use it for advertising. They say that they'll get rid of it after they've done the age verification thing. But we've all heard these promises before. Other companies say the same thing, and they too have had cyber attacks. They too have had data breaches. And so it opens up a whole new sort of frontier in terms of privacy and data stewardship. I have grave concerns. Will they do what they say they're going to do? I don't really trust them. We've been here before, Lindsay.
We have, and we've also seen the opposition to things like this and changes. We're seeing a lot of social media posts from users who are opposed to this idea. There's a hashtag going around on X and Reddit called #BoycottYouTube. There's a petition that has gained more than 100,000 signatures so far. How necessary do you think it is to have an age verification system like this one?
Well, I mean, I think we all agree that we want kids to be safe online, and so we want better ways so that, you know, they're not exposed to things they shouldn't be exposed to before they're of age to have the tools to figure it all out. So I think we're all on the same page there. The question is age verification the tool to achieve that, or are there better ways of doing it? And I think there's a lot. You know, we've seen other platforms use age verification. For example, TikTok has it in place, Reddit, and a number number of other companies, Meta as well, they're introducing it in order to comply with new legislation, both in the UK as well as the EU, and going global. Canada has a law as well that's working its way through the system. And so, the industry is really trying to comply with this changing world order. And unfortunately, it's an imperfect solution to a very complex problem. Right now, it's the best solution that we've got.
How's your week going
Good. How's yours?
so far?
Pretty good.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Did you start off well? I mean, that's really the question. Do you feel like, let's say, your home is organized, for example? If not, maybe you need to have a Sunday reset before the week even starts.
Oh.
So question for everybody, are you a Sunday organizer? Or what do you do with your Sundays? Do you hang out with friends and family? Do you cook? We've got a poll up right now. Scan the QR code and then vote. So the options are, you ready for this? What do you do on Sundays? Or as I like to put it, how do you Sunday? Relax at home, prepare for the week, see friends or family. Teddy, what do you do?
How much is that poll to vote in, by the way?
It's free.
That's free? You
Yeah,
just
it's
vote?
free.
Oh, cool. Good to know. I have such a conflicted relationship with the whole, use your Sunday to get organized for the week, because then when you start the week, it feels amazing, but then you've used half your Sunday, which is only 1 of 2 days on the weekend, to do productive stuff instead of relaxing. So I vacillate every month. Like, some months I'll be like, yep, Sunday and then Monday I feel great. But then other times I'm like, well, I just kind of burned a quarter of my weekend doing stuff.
Yeah.
So then I'll go to the other extreme and I'll be like, no, I'm not going to do anything productive. I'm going to save it till Monday and Tuesday evening after work. And then Monday and Tuesday evening are awful. So there's no winning. The Sunday scaries are real. And if you if you use time to avert them, then you've also burned a quarter of your weekend.
That's a really good
I
point.
don't know what the answer is. What do you
really
do?
good point.
I don't know what the answer is.
So Sundays for us are typically busy just because our life is so busy.
Yeah.
But this week we did nothing on Sunday other than play family games.
Doing
outside.
nothing's great.
Yeah, and
That's so rare.
I know, and it was a concerted effort to not be there are 3 big laundry baskets that we probably should fold. There's laundry upstairs that needs to get put away.
Yeah.
We needed to vacuum. We didn't do any of that. And I will say, both Jay and I felt it yesterday.
Yes.
Our Monday evening was a gong show. We got a ton done. But I was reminded last night that putting away the laundry, that is the task that I dread the most.
Right.
Took me 4 minutes yesterday.
There you
And
go.
in my head, that's a 4-hour task.
Right.
Which is why I don't want to do it. And so I delay and delay and delay. And then I just did it yesterday, mostly because Jay was like, go put away your laundry.
Yeah.
And had to lay down the law. And it took me 4 minutes. And so it was a good reminder. I think for the Sundays that can feel really Sunday scary, prepping for the week, these tasks don't have to be hours on end.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Megan will say the same, that some of them are really easy resets that change your whole week.
It's a personality test. Do you amortize no fun stuff over a period, or do you concentrate it in one day? It's a personality test. What do you do?
I'm always driving on a Sunday.
Driving on a Sunday.
Yeah, not
Is
just
it
in Brown. I'm because we go away so
Meeting.
often on the weekends, right? So yeah, I'm like a weekend commuter.
You are, but do you weekend commute in the terms of it's a funner commute, you podcast or listen to a book or?
No, no. I want a podcast, but there are children in the back that apparently can't listen to my murder datelines. So sometimes I'll sneaky put an AirPod in on the left side.
Yeah.
And then Drew, if I'm driving, and then Drew's like, "What? We're interacting." I'm like, "Yeah, totally."
Yep, absolutely.
And then the dark and stormy night. But what I will say, I will not grocery shop on the weekend.
Oh, really?
That is a
yeah.
Monday. That is a Monday task
See,
for
grocery
me.
shopping for me is a joy. That's a fun activity that I like to do.
That's a fun one?
Yeah, because it's just my partner and I enjoy being out and walking down the aisles and looking at
Talking
stuff.
to everybody.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I'm sorry, you don't eat popcorn at movies and you like going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a normal person. Yeah.
And we
Clearly.
enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you. And speaking of a Sunday reset, we had the chance to chat with organizing expert Megan Arthurs on how you can be set up for a successful school or work week ahead.
So what is the first thing we should focus on getting in order on a Sunday?
I want to talk about your wardrobe and creating a little mini wardrobe station. So we've all been there when we're like, I don't know what to wear, and we're grabbing things and it becomes a disaster. Maybe there's a meltdown. So for all ages, we want to create a little station on Sunday. It can only take up to 5 minutes, and all you need is a hanging rack. So easy to find. Go to the store, go online, go to Home Hardware, get your rack. You want to select 5 outfits. So 5 full outfits, accessories included, and hang them on the rack. And that way, instead of every morning being like, I don't know what to wear, it's already set. You're saving time, you're reducing stress, you're eliminating decision fatigue. But my favorite part is that you're maintaining a tidy space in your bedroom and your closet, because in the morning when you're in that rush and you create a mess, now you have to come home to that.
Yeah, this is such a great idea. I'm thinking about for Viv, our daughter who's 7 years old, because she loves clothes and she takes a long time, I'm told, because I'm not there. Drew tells me she takes a long time in the morning deciding her outfit. I mean, I decide the night before because, because it's like 3 in the morning and I can't see.
Yes.
So I decide the night before. Okay, let's talk about food though. The fridge and meals can be another source of stress for people during the week. How can we organize that on a Sunday?
It's interesting. The fridge is probably the most frequently used item in the kitchen or the home, but the most neglected. So take 10 minutes on Sunday, take everything out, give it a wipe down, and put things away. But this becomes a really interesting exercise. So you are now able to assess what is going to be expired soon. Maybe you can make some meal choices with those foods. What do you keep buying that your children say, I love that snack, but they're not eating, right? And I know it sounds like that's a really big chore, Megan. Every Sunday you're going to go in the fridge and take it out. But the interesting thing about a Sunday reset is that you're doing it so frequently that the chore isn't as enormous as we think it is if we're leaving it for months at a time.
Look how nice your fridge looks.
Well, that's my parents' fridge.
Okay, so let's talk about those areas of the house. We all have them where things tend to pile up. What can we do here?
Yeah, I call them hot zones. Every household has hot zones. And a hot zone is really like those high traffic areas that we put things on. So we're talking like the kitchen table, kitchen counters, we're talking the bathroom vanities. So first of all, acknowledge what hot zones are in your home, right? Going through those zones, we're looking at the bathroom now. So this is a common one. We want to set up the space for success for the week ahead. So setting it up where we might have skincare, fresh towels, maybe new Q-tips, face wipes. The reason we're doing this is so that you're starting Monday morning fresh, not dealing with last week's chaos.
I love that. And it feels like a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Okay, Family Command Center, what is it?
Okay, it is an information hub for your whole family where they know what is going on throughout the week. What are the after-school activities? Is there a babysitter coming over? Maybe there's a test coming up for school. Maybe you have something important for work. So you want to put that in a very communal place in the home, like a kitchen or an entryway, maybe laundry room, mudroom. You might have a family calendar, a mail drop zone. So on Sunday, you want to spend 120 seconds, really not a lot of time, and update your command zone. And this is what really creates family transparency and communication.
Yeah, and I really like the calendar idea. I have I have one you can hold on to as well, and I know the kids really like to see it.
Yes.
And then they don't ask you a million questions about what they're
go
doing.
look at the calendar.
Exactly. What about decluttering our devices and other tech?
Okay, I'm going to make a really general assumption. I am going to say most people spend 10 minutes every Sunday scrolling.
Right, at least.
At least, right? At least. Can we take 5 of the 10 minutes and give yourself a digital detox? Delete old emails, unsubscribe, save your photos, back up. So much mental clutter comes from our digital devices. And over time, when you can really give yourself that detox, 5 minutes is not a lot of time on a Sunday. It really does so much, not just in your home, in your life, in your headspace.
I know, even if you've done all the things you say, like you have 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, it's really not that much time, is it? These are great ideas, Megan Arthur. It's always good to see you. Thanks so much. You're listening to Your Morning, the podcast, where we bring you some of the best conversations from our show every week. Join us live on CTV every weekday, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, 7 to 10 a.m. Atlantic on CTV CTV News Channel, or the CTV News app.
New rules in Ontario may mean fewer cottage rentals in the future. Several townships in Ontario's popular cottage country areas have brought in new licensing rules for short-term rentals with fees and limits and complex administrative process. And some cottage owners say these new rules make it too complicated and costly to list their properties for rent. So joining us for a look at how it's affecting his business is JT Lowe's, owner of All Season Cottage Rentals in Haliburton, Ontario. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
First of all, how are these new rules affecting you?
It's had a big impact. Our inventory of cottages has reduced by a little over 50% this year. So we've lost just over half of our owners. And it's a trend we're seeing across the market up here.
And what are they saying to you about why they've pulled their listings?
Most of them have pulled strictly expressly because of the short-term rental bylaw, combination of costs and just complexity of the program.
Municipalities say they put in these rules to enforce building regulations, fire codes, and other aspects mostly to do with safety. What do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea. There is, good parts of the bylaw. I'm not against short-term rental licensing. There are some good aspects to that, especially for controlling problem properties and giving municipalities a mechanism to kind of get those problem properties out of the market. But the devil's in the details, and just it's too expensive when you add up the cost of licensing and additional fees that go along with it, and an overly complex process to apply for a license.
For people who don't have a cottage that they rent out, what is a problem property?
A problem property would be a 3-bedroom cottage where the owner allows 16 people in. It's 20-year-olds having a party, music all night,
right.
Issues such as that.
Cottage rentals in Haliburton, I understand, are listed on Airbnb anywhere from around $200 to $500 a night. The fee, I understand, is $500. The municipal fee is $500. So is it the new fees that are too prohibitive, or is it something more?
It is. The initial fee is $500 for a license. There's other additional fees. For example, if you don't own your shore allowance, there's another $750 annual fee and extra insurance you have to acquire. What I'm finding is the investment owners on Airbnb are still renting. It's a palatable cost. They spread over dozens and dozens of bookings. The most impacted are families that only rent a handful of weeks each year to, pay for upgrades to the cottage, new docks, decks, that kind of thing.
Has the municipality of Haliburton said how they're going to monitor these new rules? I know they've put them in place and they put in the fees, but are they actually going to monitor them?
Well, and that's the big question. There's bylaws out there currently before the licensing program came into place to deal with 99% of the issues. The problem is they're not being enforced. Mm-hmm. So that's a good question on how well they'll be able to enforce these new rules.
So you are living in the middle of this. You're hearing from cottage owners. You're watching inventory go down by, I think you said 50%. What's the solution, in your opinion?
I think the solution is just for municipalities to work with professionals such as us to shape and mold the bylaw into something that both achieves their goals and at the same time is palatable by cottage owners.
Hey Canada, how you doing? How's your summer been? I think we can all agree that we're trying to make the most of it, especially with the few fleeting months of warm weather that we get. But all of this can come with a lot more activities, and that goes with more spending too. So before your bank account becomes too overwhelmed, or even if it already is, certified financial planner Martha Adams is here to help us recover and get our finances back on track for fall. Good morning.
Good morning. It's so great to see you. Thank you for having me.
Great to see you too. And this is a great segment. I think we're all feeling a little, financially overwhelmed at the end of summer. But let's dive in a little bit more to the emotional impact that your finances being stretched over the summer can have. Help us unpack that a bit.
So when it comes to our finances over the summer, we're often focused on what we have paid, but the real cost comes in how we feel. So let's start to understand that a little bit more because, there are a lot of expenditures that we have as we try and make summers memorable, whether that's camps for kids, last minute vacations, even renovations in our backyard or staycations. And then there are those summer get-togethers that we said yes to because we feel that we should. And then we come to this stage where, we look back at our expenditures and feel, guilt and, kind of judgment on ourselves. Yet, we head into September without the opportunity to review that or pause to reflect. And September is one of the busiest and costliest month. And so we go in with financial fatigue, which really can hinder our financial confidence moving forward.
Yeah, and that fatigue and that a little bit of guilt can be overwhelming. So how can we reflect back on our summer finances and, do so in a productive way, but without being too hard on ourselves about it, that reflection?
Yeah, that's a really great point. point, because we want to start by prioritizing the way that we feel and then bridge that to our financial action. So we can do that in a few simple steps. So the first thing is to pause with compassion. This is where we want to ask, how do I feel about my summer expenditures? And here, not with a sense of judgment, but instead understanding. And then from there, we want to reflect for additional clarity. So, looking back at summer expenditures, what did you really enjoy? What added value? And what maybe felt like it was more guilt and obligation?
Okay.
And now with that understanding, you can move forward. So you can reset your path forward and say, what are your priorities heading into the fall? Because now you can move into the fall with purpose instead of a feeling of panic.
And what's the best way to kind of affect that reset and kind of stop and say, hey, let's kind of get our mind back on this and reset our finances? What are the best ways to do that?
So overall, it really is about taking small, simple steps, because that's going to really help your financial confidence moving forward.
Right.
And it's sustainable as well. So the first thing to do is to review maybe your bank balances or credit card statements and see really, kind of flag those high value purchases. Again, not from a sense of judgment, but, awareness and insight. And then start to create a rebalance plan moving forward. And choose, as you're creating that rebalance plan, choose a focus category. So maybe that is reducing debt or increasing your investments, topping those back up. And then that rebalance plan is going to help you to actually achieve those goals. So maybe you are, pausing certain expenses so that you can create that focus that you've chosen for yourself.
It's great advice. I got to tell you had me at small, simple steps.
Yeah,
I like that. I like breaking it down into little bite-sized pieces. You mentioned this earlier, but fall can also be a really expensive time.
It is.
For parents, it's back to school season, and we still have that nice weather, so a lot of us still trying to make the most of it.
Yeah.
So as we move deeper into fall, what can we do to make sure our finances stay on track?
So here's something really effective to do. First is to anticipate those known costs. So you mentioned back to school. So if there are expenses that a household has there for kids, start to plan for that in advance, and then automate wherever possible. So, if you're focused on topping up those investments, decreasing that debt, then automate those transactions to make sure you are achieving that goal. And finally, and what I would say is most important when it comes to your financial well-being, work with and through your emotions instead of the idea of suppressing them, because that guilt and judgment really does hold us back, but awareness and understanding is what helps us move forward. Keep our foot on the gas for our financial confidence.
Yeah. All right, quick question. Do you ever end a text with LOL even when nothing at all is funny?
Or are you more of like a ghosting or thumbs up emoji kind of person?
Oh, well, the awesome Matt Scooby was filling in on the show last week and joined the convo as we chatted about what your go-to is when you're trying to end a text convo.
I'm guilty of all of these. I don't know which one I would actually pick. I don't do LOL. My mom does LOL, and it drives me a little bit bananas.
Right.
And so I love her to pieces, but it's like, Mom, not LOL.
You should respond with the banana emoji to her LOL.
The best part about LOL is that sorry, Mom, but she didn't know for a very long time. She thought it was lots of love.
Oh.
So for a very long time,
Now
there'd
she's
be like
committed.
something that was not funny or serious, and it would end with LOL, or she would just send me LOL.
Oh my God, that's...
Like finally got to the point where I'm like, I don't think you know. I don't think that you think that you know what that means.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like Princess Bride.
I was gonna
right,
nice reference.
Princess Bride.
Yes.
But it's like, so that was the funniest thing for a long time.
So
I will
funny.
do haha. I'm still a big emoji guy too. I still like the emojis.
What are your go-tos?
Like the laughing face, crying face emoji, and at least at different points. The sleeping emoji, especially for the boys when our boys are tired and whatnot.
yeah.
But and I will also just not respond to people.
Do you do a haha period or a haha? Because a haha
No
period
at
is
the
like
end.
passive
No.
aggressive.
If there's no period, an exclamation point. If it's really funny, right? Then you need an exclamation point at the end.
Okay.
But no period.
But when you, instead of doing the exclamation, when you just put the emoji in, the one that's like on the side and laughing, because that's like
that can suffice too. But that's what I mean. I do all of these things. That's the thing. So
I know. What about you?
I'm way too long as a texter. Renee and I are planning a trip. I know, right? With a couple that we know. He sent like an Airbnb, my friend, the other day, and he was like, "What do you think?" And I wrote this log thing, and Renee wrote TLDR. He likes it. Like too long didn't read. He likes it, and I am too long didn't read. It's an acronym that the kids use.
Oh, is that what the kids use?
Yeah. But I'm also guilty of I am hardcore into the emojis. I love them. I love using emojis that don't make any sense in context. I do that all the time.
Just random emojis?
I use the alien face a lot. I use that.
What does that mean if you were to send
that's
that
the
to
thing.
me?
It doesn't mean anything. That's the fun of it. And I'll just pick emojis that do not correspond to the content. And then in terms of how to end a convo, because I will just keep typing. I'll just keep going. But if I want to end it, what you do is you thumbs up or you put the heart emoji, but you don't put it as its thing. You like the person's message.
You like it, exactly.
Yeah,
you've seen it too, right?
You've seen it,
I feel less like I'm ghosting someone if I have liked your message or if I've put the heart emotion, replied and reacted to the message.
Yeah, that can stop it. What do you do? Because I'll just keep going.
Yeah, I'm with you. If I want it to end, I want it to be over.
Yeah.
I will take whatever they said and respond with an emoji on that thing.
Yeah, so you like their
You're replying
thing.
and the reacting to that message.
Yeah, because that's like a shutdown. Like, okay, stop it. Like, stop.
I feel like it's over.
It is.
It's over.
I've said in real life, I've to people's faces, I've said the end, I'm done.
The end.
That's
really?
It. Yeah.
To someone's face?
Yes.
The end?
Yes.
This is over.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not like our relationship, but this particular interaction.
Yeah.
The Ontario government is planning to transfer a large area of Wasaga Beach out of a provincial park. This proposal aims to amend the Provincial Parks and Conservation Reserves Act to allow the removal of 60 hectares of protected land. Officials say this move will help with the revitalization effort, but critics worry that it could set a precedent for future provincial park transfers. Tim Gray is the Executive Director of Environmental Defence, and he's joining us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So walk us through what the plan is right now.
Yeah, there's two parts to this, as you alluded to. One is to remove about 60 hectares of the beachfront in Wasaga Beach. So this is the dunes, the ecologically sensitive area, endangered species habitat, and the most visited park in Ontario. So that's part one. The other is to actually amend the act itself, which protects all provincial parks. This is unnecessary to remove the land from Wasaga because there is a process outlined in the Act now. So we're very concerned that the intention is to make it easier to remove lands from all provincial parks and be able to do it in secret by cabinet or by the minister. So there's two aspects of this. One, the direct impacts on Wasaga, and secondly, the impact that's possible for all the rest of the parks in the province.
And just to be clear, when we say remove from sort of provincial park protection, it's being handed off to the town?
It is, and this is being done for a tourism development scheme that the town has been pursuing with a major developer. We have no opposition to the idea of revitalizing tourism infrastructure in Wasaga Beach, but it should not occur on the park. There is land owned by the town, there's private land that can be acquired. There's no need for these ecologically sensitive areas to be handed over to this tourism development project.
Because what are your biggest concerns with this removal?
Yeah, of course, it's the precedent and the fact that parks are meant to be protected for the people of Ontario forever. They have an ecological integrity mandate. But specifically here, these dunes along the shore of Georgian Bay are a barrier to storms, so they help protect the town. They have a species called the piping plover, which is a rare shorebird that's very endangered, which came back to Canada after being extirpated because of good management of beaches. It also has rare coastal dune habitat vegetation, which is only found around the Great Lakes and along the Atlantic Ocean. So very rare habitats, very sensitive, and the provincial parks have a mandate to protect these areas.
What is the town saying about what they plan to do?
The town is saying that they will continue to protect the beach, but it's interesting because in the past they have opposed the type of management that protects these values. And in addition, if they wanted to have these areas remain protected, then they could stay in the park where they have professional people with a legal mandate to continue to protect them. Interestingly, the town itself originally requested that these lands be put into the provincial park because of impacts on them and inability to control use of the beaches in a way that the town saw fit. So it's interesting that now they want to reverse this.
Yeah, so take us back a little bit, because decades ago, was this land not taken away from people who owned it?
Actually, decades ago, back to the 1950s, the town actually requested the provincial government make these areas provincial parks. So there's a long history here of risk of overuse, risk of damage to these lands. Eventually, they became provincial parklands, and they should stay that way.
Instead of amending the act, what alternatives could the Ford government take, in your opinion?
In the circumstances of wanting to remove land from a provincial park, the existing act says that the minister must bring a report about the impacts of such a change to the legislature and have all MPPs vote on it. This ensures some level of transparency, an evaluation of the impacts, et cetera. So our concern is they're planning on changing that so they no longer have to do that, and reducing the transparency, reducing accountability to the people of Ontario, and therefore threatening other parks like Algonquin, Killarney, Quetico, other high-value parks where developers would love to get their hands on the properties.
Well, my friends, that's about it, but we're so glad you joined us today.
If you want more of these great conversations, don't forget to download or hit subscribe on Your Morning the Podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you're listening right now.
And of course, we'd love for you to watch us live weekday mornings on CTV, CTV News Channel, or the CTV News app. Start your morning with us.